Welcome to the Popcorn Talk Network. For the online broadcast network that features movie discussion, news, and interviews, press 1.
Popcorn Talk. We talk movies. From the Popcorn Talk Network, the #1 online broadcast network for movie talk, this is BollyWHAT, the show where we break down all you need to know about Bollywood and its movies.
Hey everyone, welcome back to BollyWHAT on the Popcorn Talk. Today we have a very fun episode, so make sure you stay tuned throughout. I'm your host, Kanika Lall. Make sure to follow me on Twitter at Kanika Lall and Instagram at You Can Have It Lall. Before I introduce a very special guest, James, please introduce yourself.
You know, it's me, James Lott Jr. You can find me at Black Hope LA on Twitter, and that's BLAKHOPELA.
And our special guest is one of the creators of, I think, one of the most original and lovable documentaries I've seen in a while. Ravi Patel, everyone.
Hey, how's it going? Should I give my Twitter handle?
Yeah, so people can follow you. So people can follow you.
Handles.
At Show Me the Ravi. I don't know how exciting my Twitter space is for people.
I like that name.
No, the name's cool for anything.
The name is fantastic. An epiphany.
Okay, Ravi, before we get started on this documentary, I want to do some rapid fire questions with you so we can get to know you a little bit better.
Let's get
to
into
warm
it.
you up.
Do it.
Even though I think you're already warmed up, but it's fine.
All right. Economy is not a strength of mine. I assume you want quick answers from me.
Yeah,
right?
very quick, like less than 3 seconds.
Doesn't run.
Okay.
Did you see the movie? Okay, fine.
Okay, favorite food your mom makes?
Samosa. No curry.
Gutty. Biggest pet peeve?
Ooh, when people say my name wrong.
Good one.
Call me
Okay,
Ravi.
Ravi, third question.
Yeah.
A rumor about you that you wish would start.
Wow, that I should have been in the NFL.
If you woke up blank, what would you do? What would be the first thing you do? A, Donald Trump.
I guess I would do my hair, right?
Oh, yes.
Your sister.
Imagine that's the first thing he
That's
does.
a good thing.
That's a
Yeah,
good answer.
that's squirrel hair. Geeta Patel, your sister. What would you do?
I would not email or call my brother.
Stay away. Third, Shah Rukh Khan.
Oh.
Wow. I don't know. I would try to find a way to quit smoking.
Oh, interesting.
Guys
Shah Rukh Khan, if you're listening, there you go.
Ooh.
Have you seen his documentary, Inner World, Outer World?
No.
It is out of control. You've got to see
Oh.
it. It's a 2-disc set. Wow. One of them is
I've
Inner
read
World,
his book,
and the
but-
other is Outer World. What? Tell me about the book. Was it like?
It was all about Shah Rukh Khan.
Yeah.
Okay, I got
so
you.
was the 2-disc set.
It was like his deepest childhood facts to everything till today. His fears, his. Okay, we're gonna have like a whole other
Yeah,
show
we'll
about Shah
get
Rukh
into
Khan,
that. I gotta see
but
that. Oh
he's
my
great.
God.
2 DVD set is fascinating. Yeah,
Wow.
Okay, 2 more questions. Which Bollywood film should have a Hollywood remake?
Ooh. Kuch kuch hota hai?
I like that.
Yeah.
And lastly, true or false? The average percent of arranged marriages in India is 54%.
True.
It's actually false. It's 89.
Oh man.
Ooh, 89.
Mr.
I thought it was-
Arranged Marriage documentary. You
yeah,
should
but
be
see, I thought that was one of those facts that's meant to trick me. So I'm like, I'm
Yeah, I
gonna
know.
take
Oh, yeah.
the
Yeah,
one
I
that
know.
I'm gonna go the direction I don't think is correct.
It's actually globally is 54%, so you're not that bad.
Wow, so that's shocking.
Yeah.
That is shocking, actually.
Well, you lost the
Is it
rapid
partially
fire
because
round.
there's so many
Sorry.
Indians? Oh, did I lose?
Yeah, you lost. So, moving on.
I guess the guy from The Big Bang Theory is up next or something.
Yeah, exactly.
Should I
Thanks,
leave and-
thanks for coming.
Yeah.
Bye. Yeah.
So, Ravi, it's opening weekend for your film. I mean, you went to New York, which you just came off of a flight from. How are the reactions from everyone from the film? What were they telling you? I'm sure they all loved it. But
It's been, I mean, the last week in general. I mean, it was incredible. I mean, this weekend we split up the family.
Yeah.
You know, my parents are really the stars of the movie, and I brought them with me.
Yeah.
As you can see here. So they were in Chicago, doing Q&As and opening all theaters there. And Geeta, my sister, with whom I co-directed this film, she handled LA, and I did New York. And the response, overwhelming. Like you know, first of all, I was just overwhelmed going into the weekend with kind of this just support from all these people who have seen it at festivals over the last year. We've sold out every screening, and all of our friends, and then people who I maybe met in middle school. Like Facebook was afire. Like it was crazy, and then people, friends of friends, and next thing you know, we're the last week we had all like 2 pieces on NPR. We had a Vanity Fair article. We had LA Times, like glowing reviews. I can't believe it.
That's true. I didn't really see that many negative reviews throughout.
Oh yeah, you can find them if you dig. The New York Times guy.
The New York Times did kind of like shit on you. Sorry.
Oh yeah. Oh, he did.
I was like, wow.
No, but what was amazing about that was he didn't talk about the movie. He just talked about me.
Yeah, I know.
Like he was like, this guy's clearly a narcissist, like making a movie about himself. Like, yeah, that's totally reasonable. Yeah, Tell me what you think about the movie.
Right. Yeah, I know.
Right. Guy with the best real estate and reviews ever. Like, what do you got against my parents? You hate them too, you jerk.
I know, right?
I couldn't believe it.
No, there's always going to be haters. That's when you know when you're successful. That's okay.
You know where else I found a lot of haters? My friend was showing me there's a Facebook message board for an NPR article, and in that message board it was all these people just going to town on me. So it was a message board on Facebook for an article for a radio show about a movie that none of these people had seen, and they hated me. But for those reasons, I'm okay with it. I just wanted to kind of reply. My friend was like, "Don't do it." I was like, "No, I just want to reply. Like, would love to hear from you after watch a movie."
Maybe they were first, before we get into maybe why they were hating, let's give the viewers a brief synopsis of the film. People who don't know about it. What can you tell them? Brief them on it.
So we're calling it a real life documentary because it is, unfortunately, my real life. And it took place probably about 5-6 years ago. I had a white girlfriend who I never told my parents about. I don't know, what kind of Indian are you?
Punjabi.
So are you? That's right. So you're familiar with the whole
I'm very familiar with
you don't do it. You don't do it unless you're sure. You don't tell your parents about the white girl unless or the white boy until you know that it's like a real thing.
Exactly.
I hadn't told my parents about her, and then we broke up, and we went on our family trip to India, and at that point I was about to turn 30, spent an 18-hour flight in which my sister Geeta just bought a new camera, and my parents are just pressuring me the whole way, like just, code red with Indian parents. It's all they care about. And then all of that was kind of exacerbated by this idea that at the end of this 18 hours of hell, we're landing in a place where there's a billion more of these people who are even more pissed. Yeah. So that's what this documentary.
Like every conversation is, why aren't you married? Is there a girl in your life?
And then what happened was, at the end of that trip, I agreed to let mom and dad set me up on these dates. We have these things called biodatas.
I love them, actually.
Do you what biodata? You have a biodata?
Like, here, mom, please take care of this.
Do you have one going? You might have one out there. You don't know.
I know.
I know I might. Oh my God.
If you want one, you can go on our Facebook page because my parents are active now.
That's so.
If you go to the
funny.
Meet The Patels Facebook page, they will.
Mom,
can they set it up for James?
She's always taking on new clients.
I love that. Sure I love that.
Yeah,
she's like an agent for dating, right?
She's responsible for so much. But yeah, I agreed to go around the country, and my mom, Patel to Patel, and Somehow, I guess it's hilarious to people.
I loved how cooperative you were actually being, though. That was one of the things. Like, you actually were listening to your parents and going from girl to girl to girl.
Yeah, it's like...
You weren't really putting much of a fight, as I thought you would.
Yeah, well, I mean, look, I'd been fighting it for years.
Yeah, well, we didn't see that part, I guess.
Yeah. Well, look, it's this weird dichotomy where I grew up, I'm American born, but I grew up in an Indian household. So I'm watching, American romantic comedies. But then here are my parents who met for 10 minutes before they got married. They got arranged.
Right.
And they are really the happiest couple I've ever seen.
They seem totally.
They're the most adorable couple.
Right.
And so I believe in this thing that brought them together, because I actually have I have many friends. Everyone in my family actually has not only married a Patel, even the American-born ones married a Patel.
Yeah.
They've done it this way. And so I guess, here I was almost 30, and I kind of assumed that I would have the same thing that they had, but I never thought that I'd have to do it the way they did.
Exactly.
And I was kind of like, there's so much evidence that this thing works. And, really, it's just a different way of meeting a girl. At the end of the day, if I meet the girl that I love, then who cares how I got there? The only thing keeping me from getting there is just, this just being fear of this different process, and the basic idea of mom and dad calling me every 5 minutes.
Exactly.
That part, but it turns out they call me every 5 minutes anyway.
Yeah, I know. It's just something that us ABCDs, American Born Confused Daisies, literally have a problem with. Like, we see our parents getting married a different way. How are we going to do it? It's a very confusing phenomenon, but you tried it.
But I think for us Americans, you gave us another version of arranged marriage.
Yeah.
What it means. Because we think arranged marriage, you think it's like, it's horrible. Why are you doing this? You don't love each other. This is crazy. And actually, your version made it kind of attractive a little bit.
I can't tell you how many people go into the movie and they're like, it's kind of like the NPR message where they're like, what kind of a spineless man doesn't tell his parents about the white girl and then goes and does this archaic...
Many guys out there don't do that. Don't, come on.
But guys
don't tell their
anyone
parents
who watches
everything.
the movie walks out of there, but that's what I'm saying. Like, people walk out of there and they're like, oh my God, I totally get this.
Yeah.
I didn't realize, like, it all makes sense.
Yeah.
And by the way, I want your parents. I wish they did that for me. They're completely flipped.
I agree. I agree.
And it's been really, and I also think people go into the movie thinking it's about arranged marriage and like the sense of like how my parents do it. But this is actually more about the semi-arranged, like the modern day version, which is basically just Patel parents trying to get Patel kids introduced. After that, it's still mostly dating.
Yeah.
I mean, the thing about this film is that it opened up so many themes, right? Kind of the Indian versus non-Indian way of dating and marriage. It also opened up the generation gap and the culture gap between our parents and us. And different cultures. So when you were kind of making...
By the way, do you relate to this at all? Do you have this in your family, or your parents? Do they lay any pressure on you? Or?
There are a lot of culture gaps between my family, but I would say more for career-wise.
Yeah, they have expectations for you, but
dating-wise, I actually was a little jealous. I kind of wish now that my parents did have the whole arranged marriage thing on me. I was always so against it. I didn't want... My parents were also very for me not doing any of that sort.
What's changed your mind recently?
The film. I was like, now I kind of want to just be...
Because you did grow up like with Punjabi culture and rituals.
Yeah, very, very Indian-wise.
And you now want to preserve them more.
But what do you mean?
Well, I'm saying you said you've had a change of heart where you wish you had done now. So I'm curious.
Well, I still kind of don't want to have an arranged marriage, but I'm saying the film did kind of open up a new aspect for me for arranged marriages. Like, I wasn't so against it, as I was before. You really showed a positive light on it. That's what I'm trying to... But I still don't want an arranged marriage. It didn't affect me that much, but it affected me a little bit. But I would like to marry an Indian. That is still going to be...
there you go.
because I don't want to lose that value.
Yeah.
But
well, again,
for
Meet
you...
The Patels Facebook page, Mom. Looks like she just got to... Where's Mom? Mom, you watching? It's good to hear.
Champa auntie, I'm here.
Mom?
Mom.
No problem. That's her face. She's like, cool.
Yes.
But while you were making this film, though, you and Geeta, I mean, what was the message you guys wanted to bring out? Was it mostly for those Indians who are going through that pressure, or for non-Indians too, to have stereotypes about what arranged marriages are? What was the thought process in the film?
Well, first of all, the thing you just touched on with, how people come away respecting this process, that was a direct output of the answer to the question you just asked, which is, we started off thinking like, who is this for? Who can it help? And then ultimately what we decided was, let's tell our story and the specificities of our story as authentically as possible, and not really be responsible for one specific theme or message. But the idea being that if we tell our story as authentically as possible, somebody somewhere is going to identify with it and hopefully come away with something. But if we put all this effort into trying to tell one message or reach one specific audience, then it could create like an outside-in artistic process. And we had many moments where different people were trying to make us do that. And I think at the end, now having, look, we got rejected from every major festival for 2 years before we someone finally let us in, and then we just started selling out, and everyone's just telling their friends, and we're winning all these audience awards, which I think is interesting because it's not like best film in a festival award.
It's the audience.
It's audience awards.
The audience is what helped you kind of get this recognition.
This is totally like, it's been like, Dad ordered these campaign yard signs.
Yeah.
That you go on Facebook, people all over the country.
We did have photos of that.
You did?
Of your
Yeah.
dad.
Yeah.
Like putting the sign in
Oh
for
my God.
everyone's yards and everyone's.
incredible.
It's
Oh, I got it.
amazing.
I got
It's old
texts.
school style marketing.
Yes,
It really
I love
is.
that.
Yeah. I mean, and it really works. With the Indian community especially, it's like you do not want to mess
Yeah.
with the Indian community. Like when Indians love something,
Yeah.
like
Very
everyone
true.
finds out
Very
about
true.
it.
Yes.
We're still small enough
Yeah.
where everyone really cares about sticking together and when we find something that speaks to us, because there's not a ton of media that speaks to us, and the beauty, I think what we did with Mom and Dad was, you know, our reality for Geeta and I is that we really love and respect our parents, even when they have these kind of crazy ideas. So in the movies I've seen in the past that talk about this stuff, the parents are like these like wacky, unrelatable
Right.
aliens.
That's very
Right.
true.
Yes.
Yeah, like our parents, it's like, no, we think they're smart, reasonable people.
Yeah.
They just have a different idea on how to get to this kind of shared endpoint.
I want to make one point of that, actually. I wrote this down because it was really interesting to me that your parents each make an interesting statement. Your mom in the film at one point says that you kids make them feel different. Mm-hmm. And then another one, your dad says, if you're single and not married, you're the biggest loser you can be.
Yeah.
But it was very, like for me, like I didn't laugh. I thought that was what a real comment that is.
Yeah.
But then he was the first one to turn around after you talked about Audrey.
Yeah.
And but then your mom, who was angry, then she later was like, I just love you, I want you to be okay. But it was kind of funny that they made these major statements that were real statements.
Yeah. Well, here's the thing. I mean, you guys have been in fights with your family, I assume.
No, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
What happens when we get in a fight with our family?
Right.
Especially the people we love the most.
Yes.
It gets real.
Oh,
It gets
right?
heated.
Right.
More
It gets
heated than
real.
anything.
You say things that you
Oh, yeah.
really mean that you can never
Yeah.
say. You also
Right.
even say stuff you're just feeling but don't mean.
Yeah.
Right.
And I think that is what's like that. What you're describing is more like, it's more descriptive of like the visceral nature of a good old family
Oh,
fight.
yeah. Oh, yeah.
And like the way I even put it with my parents, like Dad, that like you're talking about how like Dad was like the first to come around. I think that's because he was a reasonable person in that moment. You know, he had been thinking
Yeah.
about. He was
Okay.
chilling on the sidewalk and
Yes.
that scene.
Yes, he was. Yeah,
I mean,
he
like
was.
he was cool, but
Yeah.
you know the way I always describe this to it was a couple days ago at one of the Q&As. Like I was thinking about it, and like people are like, man, these parents are so traditional, and it's not. They aren't like they're unreasonable backwards people. They just have things that they have dreams
Right.
for us.
Of course.
And it's like I don't like it's like Christmas growing up.
Mm-hmm.
You ask for this gift, and you think it's locked in October.
Oh, right. Yeah, right.
Okay,
Right.
you've had all the chalks, all the seeds have been planted.
Yes.
You're 100% sure this baby's locked in. This is going to be your Christmas. Okay. By the way, this is a real life story because we didn't even celebrate Christmas in my house, but we eventually negotiated that there'd be a gift involved.
Okay.
These guys were lazy. I mean, lazy Americans. And I've had this moment where I was 100% certain I was going to get this
Bad.
pair.
Yeah.
Oh, you know what? I asked for a basketball goal.
Okay.
That's what I wanted.
Okay.
I remember it, okay?
Okay.
I asked for a basketball goal. I was like, I want to start playing basketball. I want a basketball goal. And you open up the gift, and I got a miniature basketball goal.
Oh God, that's
Now-
so disheartening.
That turned out to, well, that's a bad example because that's just a shitty replacement for the original. My point is, what if you open the gift
Right.
and it is, I don't know.
Socks.
No, it's like, I don't know. It is season tickets to
okay.
to the Clippers.
Yeah.
Okay.
You know,
Okay.
that's an amazing gift. But you really wanted a basketball.
Got it.
So you're going through this shock.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Of like, oh man, I've been visualizing
Yeah.
this thing for so long,
Got it.
and
Yeah.
I think that's what it is with Indian parents or anyone. I think
Yes,
that's the way it is with parents in general.
I think it's parents
Yeah.
in
You
general.
know,
I would
it's
say, yeah.
hard for all of us. You know, everyone deserves that moment of reconciling what they hoped and expected with what they end up with. But at the end of the day, they want to love us. They always love us.
Yeah,
That's the beauty of family, right?
Yeah, exactly. They have to make certain sacrifices. Their vision for you is to be happy.
Sure.
If it's not the same one, they'll
And it
have to
goes both ways,
sacrifice.
right?
I was just saying, we have to also
Exactly,
look at
we do,
them.
but that's the
Yeah.
thing. Many children don't realize that. You
No.
know, like how
Oh,
much
no,
sacrifice
yeah.
you have to make for your parents. So that's why I think I'm not going to just single out Indian families, but
Right.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
we
That's
are
the
raised very in a good way.
Oh,
We
yeah.
have really good morals and
what I-
values. That's one
what I
thing I'm
love
proud
about
of.
Indians. And
Yeah.
and I think that's the message. You know, like in all these screenings in the last year, over 90% of them are non-Indian, and the way that people are relating to this thing, and I think it's because everyone's identifying with the family, you know, with this basic concept of like, oh, like this is how we aspire to deal with conflict. This little element reminded me of this and this.
Exactly.
Like everyone, it's
I can
crazy.
tell you, I'm not Indian. I can tell you exactly.
Like
Yeah.
So you can.
Everyone's like, there's versions of it. Like, there's so much about this that made me think about my own life and reminded me of this part of it. And that part I never saw coming. It's been
Oh, really?
Oh, no,
So when you did it, it was strictly my story, Indian story. You didn't think of it could relate to.
No,
Well,
but
here's
not
the
even
thing,
Indian
though.
story.
Okay.
Like it was more just like my story. And I know that there's a lot of Indians who deal with this. I mean,
That's the thing.
Yeah.
Because first of all, what I wanted to go was kind of the style of the way it was made. I mean, you went to some conference with Hindu lawmakers, right? And you made jokes about arranged marriages.
Yeah.
Isn't that kind of what brought you to wanting to do a story about arranged marriages?
Totally. Yeah.
So I think it was just a symbol for people who are going through the same problem.
Oh, totally. So this was a Jain. Do you know what Jainism is? It's like Hindu adjacent.
Oh, yeah.
But there was a 500-person Jain Lawyers Association in Los Angeles, and I was like doing stand-up, and then I just started riffing on how my mom was sending me these pictures and resumes of Patel girls halfway across the country, and I was supposed to cold call them and be like, "Yo, what's up? My name is Ravi. Someone we don't know thought we'd be great for marriage." You know, like, what are you doing Tuesday night? You want to Skype? And
I like that.
and I was killing in a way that I've never killed before. And I'll tell you why. Like, one, I was hilarious.
Oh,
But two,
hello. Like, come on.
You know, come on, for real.
Come on.
No, but I think it was because
You were being honest and real.
Yeah,
I think
that's true. It was coming
people
from
on
a
the
place-
exhibitions, you could feel everyone, and I stopped in the moment. I was like, wait a second, how many of you are single? And everyone but the organizer goes like this. And the way
They were vibing with you. They were totally vibing with you in the moment.
Because they knew. They
and I
understood
told them,
it.
I was like, oh, that's why you're here.
Yeah.
You're here because you're trying to meet each other.
Yeah.
Because there's no court case where you need another Jain lawyer on the horn.
Yeah, I know.
Never.
I know. So, yeah, see,
But if there were, you'd be glad you went to that conference. Hey, look who's here.
girl. Hi.
Come on in, Geeta.
I'm Jace. Nice to meet you.
Yeah. Hey, sister. Good to see you.
so nice to meet you.
So
Thank
nice
you
to
for
meet you.
coming.
Yeah.
This is my first time seeing you since. Oh, do we want her to come up here? How should we do this?
I'm good right here. I'm good. Just
Come on, so-
She could totally lie down on the couch. So everyone,
Okay.
this is Geeta Patel, the sister of Ravi, and
Yes.
also the filmmaker behind this amazing creation. So thank you for coming in.
Yes.
Thank you for having me.
Hey.
Sorry I was late. I was
course.
out in Orange County putting up yard signs.
Oh, yeah, speaking of yard signs, more
Sweaty and
marketing.
nasty and
You look
my God.
beautiful.
But you still look
beautiful.
Is she a real estate
amazing.
agent?
No.
Mr. Patel.
Patel.
I have met so many cousins of cousins of cousins today.
Oh my God.
Oh, in Orange County? Yeah,
ridiculous.
down there, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, especially Irvine.
Yeah,
Oh,
that's
yeah.
where I was.
When she told me
Yeah,
you were coming
exactly.
there, I was
Oh,
like,
yeah.
okay, she must be going to
And
some
we got
Indian
the
convention.
temples going. We got,
Oh.
yeah.
It's the
I'm
most
praying
Patel
a lot
thing.
today. Because every time you go,
More well wishes. Well, it's
My
good
favorite
that.
Patel thing is the connections that they make.
Yeah.
And
Oh, yeah.
every
I'm-
screening I went to, someone would be like,
Yeah.
you know, blah, blah, who knows, blah, 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 blah. Well, I'm his cousin.
I'm so envious. I'm a lol, and there's no such thing as a lol convention, is there?
no.
Right?
Well,
No.
where are you from in India?
Punjabi.
Oh, yeah. Well, there's Punjabis, which I feel
That's
like
true. But like, I'm like,
you guys.
but a
Well,
lol,
there's that.
but a lol, a lol.
Yeah, I've never heard of a
Yeah.
lol. You're my first lol.
I know Lals. I know Lals.
Really?
Yeah. She lives
Okay,
in a,
well,
she lives in a
actually-
Patel, like imaginary Patel.
I know, she only knows
bubble. Yeah.
But no, Geeta, I'm so glad you came at this point because we're actually talking about the style of this
Yeah,
film.
yeah.
We were just getting into that. And
The lack of style. of
no,
this film.
no, that's
there
not
was a
it.
style
It
in
was
it. There
like
was a
I
style
love the
in
way
it,
you
yeah.
filmed it. It was just like I was watching a home video of mine, you know, like a professional home video. And you did it in a way where I don't know how to describe it, but when you started filming this, you were like what, messing with your camera?
Yeah, just
and-
learning how to use a camera.
But then, like, when did you and Ravi know that okay, this is a moment I want to start? And then the thought process throughout, because I felt like you kept going until you were satisfied with the end of the documentary. You know what I mean? Because it had a middle, beginning, and end.
It did.
But
It
you
definitely
didn't.
did.
You didn't film for any lost footage. You know
Right.
what I mean? Like when you guys
Yeah.
were cutting it, you
Yeah.
didn't.
Sure.
You didn't say you missed anything. So how did you know you were done?
Well, I think, first of all, Ravi and I, when we first decided to direct the film, was probably I think when
on the
PBS
trip
came
to
on
India,
board.
yeah. Well, but obviously we approached
It's like
PBS.
the trip to India was like, literally, it was like we didn't know at that time. We were just shooting
Yeah, but I had pitched
footage.
to you. I had pitched to you on the flight back.
You had
I think,
pitched to me a lot, but I
from
wasn't
India.
listening to you.
Yeah, but obviously PBS didn't just get the stuff out of nowhere. Like we talked to them
No, we
about
sent it
making
to them.
a movie together.
But when they said yes, I feel like that's when we were like,
That's when it became a real
Like,
deal
that's
thing.
when you kinda,
so
like,
here's-
you're
I'll tell you. So on
pregnant,
the
you
way
know?
on the way
okay.
back
Yeah.
from India, like Geeta had the camera on me. She was actually like filming just the family and like gonna get
Yeah.
all of the charity work that our family does. But then we'd have all these conversations,
Right.
and Geeta. On the way back, I remember I was telling Geeta, I'm like, you know what, like we can make something like really funny and broad. And I was just really interested in doing like Michael Moore or Morgan
Okay.
Spurlock type
Yeah,
stuff.
okay.
Yes.
I can see that.
Which was
So I was like,
similar, but
Oh,
you
we
were
could do
more
something-
genuine.
Yeah, well,
I
and
agree.
it became
Yes.
about me as
Yes.
opposed to being like me being a journalist, which is what I was interested in.
Ah.
Like being like a funny,
Yeah. Like a
and-
charming journalist.
Yeah,
Like
so
James and I.
Yeah. Like you guys.
Exactly.
Yeah. By the way, here I am, glad to finally have made it.
Yeah.
Yes.
We're all here together.
We're all together.
But yeah, and then we sent it off to PBS, and they're like, we want to do this, and
Mm-hmm.
you know, and they really loved these conversations between two siblings, where the one behind the camera was going through it. You
Yeah.
find out over time.
Yeah, no, I know.
Even worse.
Right.
And the fact that I took 6 years, and you guys, I don't know, it made me happy because the other day I kind of got shit on for filming something, and someone's like, well, where's the product? I'm like, these things take a while, right? For you guys, I'm sure it was just like a never-ending process.
it was one of those things where everybody really didn't believe we were making a documentary,
Everyone lost
and
faith.
that it was never going to be over, and it was one of
Yeah.
those things like the novel you never finish.
And that's so
we were
disheartening.
ashamed. We started lying about what we were doing. Like we wouldn't
Yeah,
say
right,
we were
because it was
working.
embarrassing.
Seriously.
Not embarrassing,
Yeah.
but
Yeah,
it's
it
disheartening.
was.
But then how did you guys both keep up that faith, and how did you guys set up aside your differences? Because I heard you two, like,
we
or
fought
I
so
chose
hard.
to throw,
Sure.
like, well,
Yeah.
did something like really happen?
Yeah, tell
like,
us everything.
well, getting, like,
Cameron.
we did
Tell us
make
everything.
each other
No,
cry.
we've yelled at each other. We yelled at each other. We've been abrasive with each other. You know.
Yeah, we've been horrible people to each other.
But then,
but at some point,
well, because we're
you
both
know,
really. I mean, I think first of all, I think to her credit, I think we're both very passionate.
Yeah.
Like we have opinions.
Yeah.
As filmmakers.
Yeah.
We're both controlling. We're
Right.
both
Yeah.
hands-on. We both want to be in charge. So
Yeah.
you've got
And I
two
think we're
people.
both
That's true.
perfectionists from a film perspective. I mean,
Perfectionists.
like we're not good at compromising. Like we became good at
No.
it. You
Yeah.
know.
And it's also exhausting, you know, when you're co-directing, you are making decisions that are not decisions you can calculate or say, oh, mine's right because of this. These are all the decisions of the heart. It's just, oh, this is how I feel.
Yeah,
You can't. So, like, when we're both making decisions, like, I'm like, well, I think it should be blue. He says it should be black. I mean, that is a really tough conflict because
true.
you're just like, well, you know, I'm right. And
So
the
then
other
how did
person's
you
like, well,
guys
I'm right.
meet in the middle? What was the ending?
We, as Ravi says, I think he puts it very well. Like, we just decided to love each other more and
I like that.
actually take care of each other more and trust each other's ideas. And in the end, I think we actually came to better moments,
Yeah.
better colors than either of us had alone. You know,
Yeah, I agree.
I think that this film not only was it meant to happen because it was so successful, but for anything, it just brought your family so much more understanding, I'm sure, about each other.
Yeah,
And
that's
now,
what we would tell each other before the film. You know, when I was going through that phase where no one wanted to touch it, we would tell each other, like, you know what, we've already won. This is,
Yeah.
look how close we are as siblings, and now we're doing stuff together in the future, which I don't think we would have ever thought.
Yeah.
Fun. Oh,
And,
okay. Yeah.
and your parents are like getting calls from agents and stuff. They're living the Hollywood life.
they're getting calls from agents. They're traveling around. I mean, like, look at them. I mean, look how happy they are. They're like, they're entouraging right now, and the whole family is just so much closer and having so much fun. So
That's the most beautiful thing that can come out of. You know,
Oh, yeah.
I've
Once
never
in a
heard of a
lifetime.
film.
I just want to ask her, actually.
Yeah.
Could it have been you as a subject, you think, or no?
it could
Great
have,
question.
but I didn't want to be in the film from the beginning, and that was
First of
the
all,
whole
you
thing.
belong on camera because you're absolutely
Beautiful.
gorgeous.
I know.
I
Like,
agree.
beautiful.
And
And
people
have
have been.
personality, too. I could tell her personality.
people
She's
are-
got a ton of personality. She's smart and
You're very smart, and they're pressuring you to do a sequel on you, which I don't think you're doing, but
Yeah.
people have
Ravi,
been pressuring
stop
you.
look at Ravi's look on his face. He's like, yeah, let's do it. You know, the thing is that this was his idea, and when Ravi told me, look, we should do something to tell this story that no one else is telling. This is you know, we both feel very passionately about the idea of family and positive kind of media about family, but also stories that reflect our society, because there's not enough stories that actually, like the stuff we see in the movies, it feels like it's not reflecting who we are as a society, if you know what I mean. And so when he came to me and he said, let's do this because we need to do this, we ourselves as a community, to make the films that represent our community, I was like, I'm all down, but I'm not going to be in it. And he's like, fine. And so we started doing it, and I was shooting it. We were going to give it to another shooter, but then I kept shooting because of the story between Ravi and me that was hilarious. And then near the end, we both didn't we? I mean, I feel like Ravi near the end, we kind of did think, okay, if it's absolutely necessary, we'll put me in. But then
we had a lot of debates about it, back and forth. I mean, I don't think there was like one moment. I think what eventually happened was, well, one, you stayed adamant on not wanting to be in the movie that much, but we did have some stuff that we did film with you. And what happened was, I think, just in terms of editing and directing, we really fell in love with her character. Like, there's an emotional quality
she
to her
still had character behind the
like
film.
You're in the film.
Like, she
almost
just
like
exactly.
like there's almost
your
like
voice
strength
is still
in the
there.
silence.
Yes.
Yeah.
And you know, to answer your question, I think that the way I deal with my problems is I run and hide, and I'm insecure, and I'm scared, and I'm embarrassed, you know, that I'm single, and I'm dealing with this, and I don't know how to find love. I can do it. I can go into a war zone and make a documentary for PBS, but I can't figure out how to date a guy. And I think, you know, the fact that you never see me is very representative of how I feel. And whereas Ravi, and this is what we both, Ravi and I decided in the end, thank God, because I didn't want to be in the film. So it was good, it all worked out. But like, and Ravi is very different the way he deals with his problems. He laughs about his problems.
Yeah.
Comedian
He, you know,
also,
he's got a different coping mechanism. The comedy, you know, the comedian's coping mechanism. So in the end, we both actually did kind of say, look, what's best for the film? We thought, this is what's best for the film.
Wow.
You know?
I like that. That's a great
I
answer.
know,
It
that
feels like
is.
there's like a crescendo in her character throughout the film as you learn more and more about her, you know, how really deep her experience is, you know.
Well, I love the one scene during the credits. We get to see you for
I know, I love that in the end.
And
I
they're all
love that in the
teasing
end.
That was
you.
just to shut everybody up.
How was your
Because
day?
you were going to get a lot of remarks, I'm sure, about that. So
Oh my
as long
God.
as you
I did
were
laugh
on
at that.
camera.
I still object to that. I don't think we should have ever done it.
You know, what's funny about that is I had forgot that had happened. And then when we were editing, you know, that came up, and
That's
I was like,
so funny.
oh,
That's hilarious,
yes.
actually. It's kind of hilarious because you were like, whatever.
Yeah.
That's hilarious.
Yeah. It's so nuts.
Payback's a bit.
But you are a major part of the film.
Yeah,
Like, even
you
though you're
totally
not
are.
in it, you're in it.
You're
in
support
it.
for Ravi. You're a support for the
Yes.
family. I see you kind of just keeping it together because you're filming it. I don't know. It's like you.
Well, it's also, I think of like the big problem you may have in your life. Like, you know, the feeling is always you don't want to deal with it because it's too painful. You don't know how to solve it. And then, you know, Ravi's like, let's make a film about that problem. And so you start making it, and slowly, inevitably, I start opening up about it. And we all start opening up about it. And we realize that, you know, we've all felt alone in going through our problems. And if we create something that, you know, people feel less alone, it's worth it. It's worth it to share.
And you had a great conversation with your mom, too. There was one that was a great conversation about her feeling different
Yeah.
because you guys weren't married.
Yeah.
And it was you talking to her
Yeah.
about him and about you. And I love that scene.
When she was holding the phone.
Yeah.
When the shot of her hand. Is that one?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Which nagging one were you? Sorry.
I found
so
it.
many.
Not even so much, for me, it wasn't even so nagging. It was kind of endearing because you were having real conversations. You were having real conversations with her and with your parent. I mean, they were real, and you were real. And
That's
she was
why
real.
this film is doing so well. It's because it's raw.
It's raw.
It's raw conversation. Nothing was scripted. Maybe some voiceovers were the cartoon
Right.
part.
Oh,
Otherwise,
cartoon,
it was a real conversation
I
that
agree.
people have every day. So it's like I said, watching your own home video. We do have to wrap this up. We could talk for hours for
I
this.
know. Oh my god.
But I kind of want to talk about your future work now.
Okay.
Geeta, you did some work on Sense8, which I think is phenomenal. Kind of where are you going with your filmmaking? Are you kind of wanting to take a break from documentaries, and do you like to do more serials? What's your take on that?
Well,
By the way,
think-
she shot the Sense8 stuff in India. They have a big Indian
Yeah, because they have a Bollywood
okay.
scene.
Oh yeah, that was.
When I heard that she was on, I was like, oh, she was part of that.
She did like all this
pitched that.
dancing stuff, and there was a festival
sick.
stuff in India.
I love that.
It was
I
really
love
fun.
that.
Yeah. Sorry, go ahead.
I think, you know, Ravi and I are really having fun working together. So I think that's probably front burner a bit.
I love that.
You're really lucky when you're able to work with someone that you love, and every minute of life is just sublime when you're working that way.
Yeah.
Other than that, I started in TV and film and scripted, so I'm gonna have fun with that for a while. I have a film coming that we're working on. Mouse, that's the producer of Sense8, is the producer
okay.
and it's a martial art kind of political action film, which is something I'm really interested in. And then Sense8 was great. He got me the job, and I got so lucky to work with Wachowskis, and I love all the stuff they asked me to do. They're the kind of people that ask you to do something crazy, and that's what I love. You know, Ravi and I are the kind of people who don't like to do traditional stuff. So when they said, go to India, you've got this... you know, for example, one of the assignments, it was like Mission Impossible. They're like, go to India, there's 1 million people, in the street marching. You need to put actors in the scene and 6 cameras. By the way, you have no permits to shoot, and there are cops everywhere.
Oh my God.
Go.
And
Go, do it.
you know, and I'm like, yeah.
Wow.
Challenge accepted.
It's life. I love that.
It's just great.
Living.
Well, that's exciting.
Ravi's got nothing to do. Poor guy. Like, I wish he could find a job. What?
On a network, maybe?
Well, I'm a little envious because Ravi is
I wish you
working...
guys had advertising for that show that you're on. No marketing.
It is on every flight I've been on. Oh my God.
Are you serious?
Oh my! On my plane right now, like everyone around me was watching it and just looking at me, and I'm like,
Hi.
and then
So-
they tell me, and I'm like, well, go watch Meet the Patels in theaters this weekend. We had a flight to, well, it was to New York when we went to New York twice this week. Well, no, we went together earlier this week.
Yeah.
And
we're on the flight, and Ravi is literally on the plane passing out flyers.
I've turned into my mother,
my God.
handing out flyers, and while I'm doing that, a grandfathered commercial is on the back of every screen.
That's hilarious.
Yeah.
And Ravi turns to me and goes, I wish we had that kind of marketing for the doc.
Well, when can they watch you on Grandfathered with John Stamos?
With John Stamos on September 29th. That's Tuesdays on Fox. Meet the Patels.
Yes, make sure to follow MeetThePatelsFilm.com to learn more about it and find the
they're on Twitter, too.
movie in select theaters.
Yeah, we're going to be in 30 cities in the next couple weeks, hopefully nationwide after that.
Well, honestly, Geeta, Ravi, thank you for today.
So much.
I honestly wish you guys the best of luck. Please spread more of our Indian culture in Hollywood, in America, because I love that. I'm proud of it. Well, thank you guys for watching. I hope you enjoyed. Like I said, make sure to check out MeetThePatelsFilm.com to learn more about it. And of course, follow Popcorn Talk on all social media. We're on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, iTunes, YouTube. You know the drill. Follow me, your host, Kanika Lall, on Twitter at Kanika Lall, and
James Lott Jr. on Facebook and Black Hope LA on Twitter.
And quickly, just introduce your social media as well, so they can follow you guys.
At Show Me the Ravi.
There you go.
Geeta V. Patel.
Perfect. Yeah,
Yes,
Geeta
you got
V.
it.
Patel.
Everyone's better example of the differences between us.
Totally, I know. Oh my God.
I give this big performance.
Yeah.
My last name's
Meet the
Patel.
Patels.
Yes.
Meet the Patels.
And they're on Twitter too.
Oh, at Meet the Patels.
They are on Twitter.
Please.
Yeah.
Yes, please.
Seriously, Rob, get over yourself.
Screw Geeta V. Patel. 3 follower city over there. I think.
Meet the Patels.
At Meet the Patels.
Yes.
All right, that's a wrap.
Thanks, guys.
Thanks.
From producers Maria Menounos, Kevin Undergaro, Phil Svitek, and the entire Popcorn Talk Network, we would like to thank you for tuning in. For questions or comments, be sure to visit popcorntalk.com. I'm Sir Richard Wentworth, and this has been a presentation of the Popcorn Talk Network. Views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of the Popcorn Talk Network or its owners or principals.